Unit 5. When do we need to assess our students? To answer this question, we have to answer 5 questions first. The first one is what decisions need to be made? First, we have to remember that we are trying to complete what the claim one state, and that is to see what are the intended consequences or benefits that get the stakeholder. For assessment, we have two kinds of decisions, the formative and the summative. Each one with their importance. We can find low state decisions, medium state decisions, and high state decisions. Normally for classroom, we take formative decisions. They can be quizzes or tests for assess the knowledge of our students. And if there is a mistake, we can correct it because they don't have a major impact on the student's outcome. But when we talk about summative decisions, there are high stakes because the results will change the outcome of the students. We are talking about their future, for example. They can be final exams or important evaluations. The second question is who will be affected by these decisions? The person or group that will be affected will vary according to the assessment aim. The people that are affected by the assessment are known as intended stakeholders. We can find them from students or test subjects to teachers, entities, organizations. Even we can include ourselves in this. But it is really important that we must be very careful when taking a decisions because we have to specify who for which stakeholder are designing the assessment. Taking a the school environment example, we can be very clear who are the students that are going to be assessed. The third one is who will make these decisions. It can vary according to the purpose or situations. We can find the teachers, the school administrator, or for real high stake decisions, we can find the Ministry of Education itself. Normally, a teacher can take the responsibility for taking a low stake decision. It can be as changing the task of the lesson, changing the content of the lesson, even changing the amount of time spent learning it. But we also can find decisions that the teacher cannot take alone. For this, we see teachers and school administrators working together to take medium to high stake decisions. They can be changing the school schedule, changing the student's uniform, deciding which student pass or not, approving or disapproving a teacher decision, and like that. But what happens when a decision overpasses the authority of the school administrators? Well, for these high stake decisions, we find the Ministry of the Education in charge of taking this kind of decision. They can be as deciding if a certain date the student have classes or not, or changing the content of the current curriculum. Question. When do these decisions need to be made? When we take a decisions, we think before taking it, and then, well, we take it or made it. But sometimes, for certain circumstances, we make them at the moment. In the field of education, this is not unknown too. When we assess, we do it at the beginning of the instruction, during the period of the instruction, if we want to assess someone or check the progress of the student, and at the end of the instruction. We can do it when we find the opportunity or if we want to reach a certain consequence. All of this when we are talking about formative decision, because when we are talking about summative decision, we are talking about big changes because this can affect the future of the learners. And it is really important to acknowledge that the time is a critical factor when we make a decision because when we the moment that when we take it, it will change everything. And the last question is, what are the qualities that these decisions need or has? Well, we when we see the quality of the decisions, we have to know two aspects. The first is the value sensitivity. That is to see if the decision is related to the values or how it can affect the values of the test taker. We have to be very careful when we take a decision because we have to consider the values of the test takers, our own values, and the values that the society think that are more important. If we see that all the values do not collide with each other, then we can continue with the next aspect. The next aspect is equitability. This means that different test takers or students has the same chances because they have the same ability to be assessed, they have the same chances to be classified in a certain group. When we assess, we want to see that all of the students are classifying in the same group. But sometimes, for example, when we have the results of the assessment, we see that who students pass or not, and who students understand the lesson and who not. This can be made by using scores based on the student's ability and explain that all of them have the same chances. It's just their ability that they can make to reach a certain goal. I want to thank Aligning Teaching and Assessing to Course Objectives by John Biggs, Assessing Students How We Shall Know Them by Derek Rountree, and Language Assessment for Classroom Teachers by Lyle Bachman and Barbara Tapok, all courses. Thank you.